Okay, something just happened here. So basically, the throttle shaft ends up being in the wrong position. So when the throttle lever on the tractor is at idle, the carburetor's running wide open and vice versa. I tried using the shaft from the other carburetor, but the diameter is just a tiny bit smaller and it's not gonna work good. So I'm ordering a carb rebuild kit. In the picture, it shows that it's supposed to be for this carburetor, and it shows a different positioning of all the parts on the shaft. It's different than this one, so I'm hoping it'll be the right one. So we're waiting on parts, but while we're waiting on parts, we're gonna get started, hopefully with something simple. I got this new steering wheel for the 544, so we're gonna try and put that on. All right, I don't know how well you guys are gonna be able to see there. Let's see if we can pop this old weathered cap off. It's, oh boy, it's just cracking and breaking. Yeah, there we go. Got that poor guy off. You can just see how chipped up and cracked the thing is. All right, it's starting to move. Let's throw a little more juice in here. I don't have a new nut to put on there, and of course I don't want to mess the shaft up. So we'll try to. The rust falling out over here is hilarious. All right, she's off. Woo-hoo-hoo! Big old clump of rust just popped. I don't know if you can see all over my pants. There, we got it. Woo! So while the steering wheel wasn't in the way, I took the opportunity to take this little panel off here, and there was these double nuts here that tighten the throttle down. I had to use a pipe on my wrench to loosen the one that technically would be like the jam nut. But I was able to get this throttle tightened up now, so hopefully we won't constantly have to be fidgeting with it in the summer. So I'm gonna tighten those up and then we'll get back to the wheel. I'm going to get the rust all cleaned off of here and put some anti-seize on there, and we'll be ready to put the new wheel on. Boy, that's a good looking steering wheel now. I tried to line everything up so it'd be straight. I know it'll never stay there. They never really do, but there, 2 projects done. Throttle tightened, new steering wheel. So the next thing we're gonna work on as part of sort of the tune-up process here, we've got new auto light plugs that I already gapped. We've got coil stuff. We've got new spark plug wires, a new cap, and a new Napa coil. So we are going to change all of this stuff here. I'm wondering if part of the reason I was having trouble starting the tractor, I noticed that this guy here doesn't really even, like, I can't seem to hardly push it in there to the point where it'll stay. Now I know there's a rubber boot here, but that really doesn't hold it much. So I think we'll start with plugs and wires first, and then we can kind of peel the cap off, and then we'll do the coil. I think what's in here now is Champions. Yeah, this is a Champion D16. So I've never checked the gap on these or anything. I don't know anything about them. We're going to these Auto Lights. Auto Light 3116s is what we're going to put in there. properly gapped. I think this set of wires was supposed to be cut specifically for this tractor or something close, so we don't have to cut any of them. Got all of our new plugs and plug wires on, so now what I'm going to do is just take and transfer these plug wires over to the new distributor cap. Now let's pop this cap off here. Oh boy, two of these were really corroded. So what I'm working on now is getting the coil out. All right, that's what we've got there. So here's the new one I got from Napa. I mean, it looks nicely built. Hopefully it will work. So this is the one we're gonna put on there now. All right, there we go. That's about as neat as I can make it for now. The wire loom that I had is a little bit too big, but that's just what I had. And if I waited to get the right stuff, it would never get put on. So I think we have everything kind of hooked up here, cleaned up as best we can, and I think this part of the service is done. So I got sidetracked here. I was gonna fire this tractor up for you guys, and everywhere I look there's terrible wiring. I fixed that wire. I got these two here cooling down, you know, heat shrunk them. This thing here, I don't even know what somebody did. Looks like somebody gnawed on it, but that's, you know, they got like double things. I'm gonna cut that off. So I'm gonna putter with this a little bit longer, and then when I get all this put back together, I'll fire it up for you guys. All right, after all the new spark plugs and coil, distributor cap, carburetor adjustments, everything, I think we're ready to fire this up and let you guys hear it. Now watch, it won't start. Every time you pull the camera out. All right, we're gonna try no choke here because we're in the garage. Let's see what happens. Sounds good. I'm not sure if I'll need to adjust the idle just a little bit, but other than that, I think that's good. So we've got a new muffler coming, and I was messing with the alternator today. The belt is stretched out, so we got to get a new belt, and we still have to do the oil change, filter, all that. So there's still some stuff to do, but hey, we got it running again. I went to Napa and got a new belt. So this should be the belt that we need, the fan belt, to put that back on. And as you had seen probably in a previous clip, we got our muffler. So we're going to get those two things done, and then we'll check about our oil leak and go from there. So let's get started with the belt. So luckily there's plenty of room here around these fan belt blades and the fan shroud to just slip this right on through. All right, now we just tighten up the alternator and we're good to go. So let's take care of this muffler here. I don't know if you can see in the picture, I thought I showed maybe earlier in a clip at some point that this is actually bent backwards. So it hasn't ever been clamped on since we bought it either. So let's get our little flapper cap off, and we're going to transfer that to the new one. So I just spent 15 minutes trying to get that sticker off that was on there. It looks better. Some of the stupid primer or paint came off. So to the company who manufactures these, how about we spend 20 extra cents on one of those stickers that peels right off? They're a different style. That would be helpful. Just a suggestion. Anyway, so let's go. Now, let's see, if we take the lazy way, let's put I just got one of these old-fashioned style muffler clamps here. Maybe we'll slide that on first so we don't have to take that apart all the way, right? Okay, now, we gotta get this guy. So I just went through all the trouble of putting this new muffler on. So I looked up underneath to see what's going on here, and let me see if I can get you guys up underneath here. You can see this elbow right here. This whole thing is loose. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to see. But anyway, somebody, I don't know, it almost looks like they use plumbing type fittings. There's an elbow here that goes over and then another elbow that goes up. And this elbow, everything's loose here. So, I think I'm gonna have to take the side panel off and look and see about tightening this mess up. Well, it's amazing the things you uncover. This is the first time I've had the hood off. So this is what I'm talking about here. This is almost like a pipe fitting, but you can see here that this is not tight at all. So I got to see if I can find some sort of sealant that I can use and potentially try to take some of this apart, I guess. But that must be why, after I put the new muffler on, it seemed like it was leaning backwards. And maybe that's why somebody actually bent it. If you turn it around, maybe it would have been straight, because this manifold goes back a little bit. So if you come up and out straight, this pipe here is actually tipped backwards some. So we're gonna have to look into this a little bit. If I can, I'd like to fix it maybe with something correct. But some other things I discovered. So I found a mouse house here. And also, this is where I could use some input. This is the air filter. I believe there is supposed to be a cover here on the end of that. Okay, so we got to clean up the mouse house, and we got to try to find, I don't know, that might be a tough piece to find. I'm not sure about the exhaust either. So here's where we're at with this situation. I could not get this guy, this guy to loosen, or this elbow to loosen. Obviously that guy's loose. I mean, this is just basic kind of plumbing stuff. I could just cut this off here, spin that elbow out. So that's a possibility. If it comes to that, I'll just kind of unfortunately have to do what somebody did here and replace it, but I would like that to be tight. So for now, it's staying the way it is. On this side, obviously, we got the mouse house out and this air filter. I cut out a piece of foam and got some steel and basically shoved it in there as tight as I could and put a bar across. Obviously the filter was quite clean, and yeah. So I'll probably put the hood back on and throw the muffler on there. I'd like to use this tractor in just a couple days if possible. All right, let's drop the engine oil here in this 544. Let's see. All right, lefty loosey. All right. Make sure we go the right way. Boy, somebody really tighten that. I was not the last person to change the oil in this. So, there we go. I'm not exactly sure how much this holds. So I've been doing some investigative work on this oil leak, and I don't know if you can see up in there, sorry about the light. There is a little bit of moisture up around that oil pan, which I thought that's kind of where the leak was coming from. But then coming down here, there's just so much oil here. And then I took this cover off, you know, there's a grease fitting up there, and everything is quite wet and being thrown around. I think our leak is coming from right there where there looks like a gasket there. So I'm pretty sure this is a hydraulic oil leak coming from up in there, and right now this is not something we're going to address. I'm going to clean this up, I'll make a new gasket, and we'll continue on with our oil change. And again, we'll have to research this a bit and see what we need to do to get it fixed. Let's get our filter off. We got a bucket down there and pig mat right here, and we'll go as fast as we can. Oh, perfect. We let all the oil drain out, wasn't a mess. All right, we got our filter here. I'm putting a Napa filter on here. I have a fleet guard that is supposed to be for this tractor, but I don't know, it doesn't seem like it's quite right. So I really want to double check the number before I put it on here. This one is practically the same as the one that came off. The other one looks a little different. So anyway, there we go, all done. All right, so this calls for 6.5 quarts. So 4 quarts in a gallon. What's that, about 1.5 gallons? So now what I'm gonna work on is this ground cable here. I don't know if you can see how bad this is frayed. It won't tighten down enough on the battery, so I got a brand new one here, so we're gonna do that. Also, we've got ourselves a brand new light, a amber flasher. It's amber on both sides. We're gonna replace that one that is broken off. I'm not gonna film this stuff because it's pretty basic, but I will show you when I'm done. All right, guys, it just take a couple minutes here to quick wrap up this video on the 544 for now. I'm on my phone, so the footage is not gonna be the greatest, so please bear with me. But so we actually put 2 new 4-way flasher lights on right there. I can't remember, I think they work. Gotta flip the battery on, and let's see, I had to, there we go, yep. So the wiring on this tractor is so messed up. Underneath the dash, there's a harness that was just cut and things are sort of spliced together. I kind of understand why that was happening, because I ended up rewiring these lights coming down. You can see some wire loom. Actually, there's 2 boxes of it right here. That's in wire loom. Those are new wires now, because when I started doing some of the wiring, I was trying to tie into the existing wiring that went down and around and up to the dash, and it just literally crumbled in my hands. And not just the outside coating, but the wire itself. So I ended up replacing a lot of it, and the light switch didn't work. The switch itself over here only does one thing, and that's, there's these 2 bright lights on each side and 1 light in the back. They turn them all on or all off at once. That's it. That's all the thing does. So the tractor really needs a new wiring harness. We're not going to worry about that now. I did go through on a lot of the other wires, and I cut the connectors off and put heat shrink ones on there. So I did address the wiring some, but not to the extent it needs. So there's that. We did get our new battery cable on, obviously underneath there. You can see why we need a new battery box cover. Did end up putting no, we didn't put a new battery in there. I was going to, but that one charged back up, so that was good. So that's all connected. I do have one of these coming. A new battery box cover is coming. A part for the air filter is coming to kind of hold that in. I could not find a exhaust manifold for the tractor. What I have found out is that this is the wrong one, and the exhaust is supposed to exit over here in a straight pipe up to the muffler. If anybody knows where there is one that's in good condition, or where you can get a reman one or something, please let me know in the comments. For now, I'm just going to leave it the way it is and run with it until I can find a solution. So there's that, the wiring, the carburetor. I think that's really everything I needed to go over. Over the course of about 10 to 12 days, I worked on this tractor. So the video that was previous to this clip was me, doing that work, waiting for parts. I was trying to combine everything into one video to get, so it was all in there. So I think I've addressed everything that we worked on. Stay tuned for a future video. We're going to get this out. We'll probably put it on the manure spreader because we have manure to spread, and we'll see how it runs. With the carburetor situation, we don't know 100% if that's going to need to be adjusted. We put the new plugs and plug wires in there. There's some debate on which plug should go in for types of ignition systems and things like that. So we'll see how it runs. Stay tuned for that video. We'll have it coming. See how that goes. Also, I have those new parts coming. We'll put those on. And the final thing to address is I have ordered from the emblem guy, or that emblem guy, the emblem, I can't remember. Anyway, I apologize if he sees this video. Super nice gentleman. I talked to him and I ordered emblems for this tractor. Now, this tractor being a 1971, I have found out that decals are actually correct. They stopped using emblems and went to decals. So this is actually correct. I mean, they're in crappy condition. So they need some attention either way. I personally think the old school emblems look cool. They stick out from the tractor. You know, I think they're plastic or metal. Like I'm not sure. But so I have the International coming, and the emblem for down here, it's the same size and shape. It's just reversed. It says Farmall on the top and 544 on the bottom. I guess that's just how the previous ones were, but those look cool. So I'd rather have those on there. They're just kind of old school to me. We are working steps towards actually restoring this tractor a little bit at a time, trying to get things done. There's some oil leaks, all that stuff. So over time, we'll get all those things addressed. And then at a certain point, all the mechanicals will be done and it'll be ready to be sort of tore apart to be painted. So I have talked longer than I wanted to. I tried to talk fast to finish this video out. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Questions, comments down below. If you know anything about one of those manifolds, also please let me know. Again, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope to see y'all on the next video.